In March 2009, the body of 65-year-old Ellen Harper was found in a blood-soaked honeymoon suite at the upscale Coral Sands Resort in Nassau, Bahamas. An investigation revealed the shocking history of her whirlwind romance with 67-year-old Vietnam veteran George Harper. In September 2008, at a veterans charity event in Charlotte, North Carolina, a chain of events began that would lead to a heartbreaking tragedy. On the tranquil morning of March 7, 2009, the Coral Sands Resort, famed for its pristine beaches and top-tier luxury, turned into the scene of a nightmare no one saw coming. Guests were starting their day, some savoring coffee on balconies overlooking the turquoise sea, others gearing up for island tours. But on the fifth floor, a horrifying discovery shattered the calm. Ellen Harper, who'd arrived days earlier with her new husband George, was found dead in the honeymoon suite. The room was a wreck. Ellen's body lay on the cold marble floor, surrounded by dark, drying blood. Her face was bruised, her arms and torso marked with deep cuts, her hands bearing defensive wounds, a silent testament to her desperate fight for survival. Overturned furniture, shattered glass, and blood-splattered walls told a story of chaos. A broken champagne bottle, its jagged edge hinting at its use as a weapon, lay near her body. The horror spread fast. The housekeeper, who found the scene after noticing the "Do Not Disturb" sign lingering too long, alerted security, her screams echoing as she ran for help. Resort security called the Nassau police, who arrived swiftly to secure the area and launch their investigation. In stark contrast to the chaos inside, George Harper, Ellen's husband, sat quietly on the suite's balcony, his shirt wrinkled and stained with what looked like blood. His hands, bruised and bloodied, rested on the chair's armrests. His face was blank, as if he'd retreated into himself. Officers approached cautiously, noting a strong whiff of alcohol. When questioned, George seemed confused, mumbling vague responses about things not going as planned, but offering no clear account of the night's events. The investigation kicked into gear. Forensic teams scoured the scene, photographing every detail, bagging the broken champagne bottle, analyzing blood patterns, and examining the wreckage. Shattered glass, tangled bedding, all of it. As they pieced together the night's events, a chilling picture emerged. Guests on the same floor reported hearing loud voices from the Harper suite late on March 6, 2009, muffled arguments followed by crashes, like furniture being tossed. One guest in the next room recalled Ellen's voice, sharp with anger, then a scream that echoed down the hall. "You lied to me!" The noises stopped abruptly, leaving an eerie silence. Police interviewed George formally on March 8, 2009. His answers only raised more questions. He claimed no memory of the events leading to Ellen's death, blaming heavy drinking, backed by empty rum and whiskey bottles found in the room. But his raw, bruised knuckles and cuts on his hands pointed to a violent struggle. He offered no explanation, only repeating he woke up on the balcony with no recollection of what happened. As the investigation deepened, troubling details about the Harpers' relationship surfaced. George, a retired Marine with a decorated career, had a history of anger issues tied to PTSD from Vietnam. While no prior violence was documented, friends called his temper unpredictable. Ellen, a gentle retired librarian from Raleigh, was known for her warmth and caution about love after losing her first husband to cancer. One detail stood out. Weeks before the wedding, Ellen transferred a large sum of money to a joint account with George. Friends later said she'd worried about his financial instability but trusted him, hoping for a fresh start. This raised questions about money as a motive. By March 20, 2009, the evidence was strong enough to charge George Harper with murder. What began as a romantic honeymoon in paradise had spiraled into a tale of betrayal, violence, and loss. 6 months earlier, in September 2008, Ellen Harper, a 65-year-old retired librarian, seemed poised for a new chapter. After years of caring for her late husband, who died of cancer, she battled loneliness but longed for connection. At a veterans fundraiser in Charlotte, she met George Harper, a tall, rugged 67-year-old Vietnam vet whose war stories and charm drew her in. Their polite chat sparked a whirlwind romance. George visited Ellen in Raleigh, bringing flowers and sharing dreams. Friends noticed Ellen's renewed spark, but subtle red flags emerged. George was vague about his past, dodging questions about old relationships. Ellen dismissed her unease, chalking it up to his military scars. By December 2008, George proposed. Ellen, surprised but smitten, accepted, telling her sister, Mary, it felt like fate. Mary, protective, worried about George's temper after seeing him snap at a family event. Ellen brushed it off, blaming his war trauma. In January 2009, Ellen found flirty emails on George's laptop between him and a younger woman, Lisa, dated months before they met. Confronted, George called it a past fling, swearing commitment. Ellen, shaken, confided in her friend Sarah, admitting doubts but choosing to trust him. In February 2009, George asked Ellen to co-sign a loan for his post-military debts. Hesitant but supportive, she transferred savings to their joint account. Friends noticed Ellen grew quieter, worried about George's reckless spending. Still, she focused on their Bahamas honeymoon, booking the Coral Sands resort, hoping it would rekindle their bond. In her journal, Ellen wrote of lingering doubts, George's secrecy, the emails, the money, but clung to hope. On March 6, 2009, the couple dined at the resort's beachfront restaurant. Ellen, in a floral dress, seemed withdrawn. George avoided her gaze. Their waiter noted their silence, unlike other honeymooners. Midway through dinner, an argument erupted. Ellen's trembling voice and George's tense replies drew eyes. She stood abruptly, chair scraping, and left. George lingered, then hit the bar, drinking heavily. Security footage showed Ellen returning to the suite after midnight, unsteady and clutching her purse. George returned around 2 a.m., agitated, pacing outside their door. Inside, the argument resumed. Neighbors heard Ellen's desperate pleas, George's forceful voice, then crashes and a piercing scream around 2:30 a.m. Forensic evidence showed Ellen fought back, her hands cut, the room a wreck. Blood patterns suggested she fell multiple times, struck with a broken champagne bottle. By morning, Ellen was dead, and George sat dazed on the balcony. The trial began in November 2009. On December 14, after weeks of gut-wrenching testimony, the jury found George Harper guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life without parole. Ellen's sister, Mary, clutched a photo of her, sobbing, not for victory, but for loss. The trial exposed George's manipulation, insecurities, and financial woes. Ellen's journal revealed her hope and doubt, her kindness exploited by a man whose rage and lies led to her death. The community grappled with questions. Could Ellen's murder have been prevented? Should she have trusted her instincts? George's fall from respected veteran to convicted killer stunned those who knew him. Ellen's story became a cautionary tale about ignoring red flags and the cost of misplaced trust. Her family vowed to honor her memory, not as a victim, but as a beacon of love and resilience. Make sure to like and subscribe for daily updates. Check out our next case about a newlywed beaten to death on a Maui honeymoon. Share your thoughts in the comments.